Hi everybody, how are you? Hope you're all fit and well. I'm certainly back on form now. I feel like I've got over whatever it was that was attacking me, but I've seen on Facebook a few comments, well more than a few comments from people saying they're struggling at the moment, that they're feeling more anxious, some are feeling depressed with the current situation or things that have been happening within their own families. So I know it's a time that can be challenging for quite a few people, for many and many around the country. So I'm really happy to be bringing this third section of the breathing techniques. And I hope you've had a chance to sort of practice some of the yoga breath, the centering your breath, and some of the other things that we've done so far. And next week what I'm going to do is take you through a guided sort of meditation visualization. So this one is going to be today about looking at visualization and what does it mean and what you can get out of it. But I hope you've taken the time to sort of practice some of the techniques, as I say, centering the breath for a good sort of 9 minutes or so, just sitting comfortably in a chair, with your back away from the backrest, your arms loosely allowing to fall onto your lap, onto your thighs. Having your feet on the ground is a great way of keeping that contact and making you feel grounded. And just taking that time with a straight back, as I say, but not Sergeant Major, but a straight back. And just asking yourself, where am I breathing from? Am I breathing from my chest or am I breathing from my abdomen? And just taking that time out to just check to see where you're breathing from. When you get to a point where you're starting to feel a bit more relaxed, is take your hands away, place them back down onto your thighs, close your eyes, and then to start to breathe in through the nose and then exhale through the mouth. Maybe for a count of 3 in and for a count of 3 out. But take your time. Make sure that your surroundings are comfortable. So I noticed I hadn't really gone through this with you before when I was checking back on some of the videos. So being comfortable is one of the main things to allow you to sort of get into this. And also try and choose a location if possible. I know busy households and busy times, but try and find a location where you're not necessarily going to be disturbed, where perhaps the children won't come through because they've gone to bed or they're doing something else, or you can't hear that many different noises outside if possible, because having that quiet time will allow you to access that quiet inner you through the meditation. I know in my first video I said I went and bought a huge pair of speakers because I found that listening to trance dance music at a very high level helped me, and that was because it blocked out any other noise around me, neighbours' cars starting, children running around, the postman delivering letters. I took the phone off the hook, or if with the modern day world with a mobile, making sure that that's do not disturb. So you give yourself the best chance to actually engage in the whole process of meditation. So make sure that your clothing is fairly loose, that you're not constricted in any way, or you're not wearing a tight belt, or not being funny or being rude at all in any way. But you know, if you're wearing a tight bra, just loosen everything off. You want to let your body just feel free and relaxed. You don't want any tension anywhere. Make sure the temperature of the room isn't too hot, because that can cause you to sort of become drowsy and fall asleep, and also not too cold, because if you start to shiver then you'll be concentrating on being cold rather than going into the meditation. So make sure it's a nice ambient temperature that suits you. Again, with the lighting, don't have it too bright, but don't have it too dark. Too dark again will start to induce sleep. Having it too bright will mean that when you close your eyes, it's going to be distracting for you. And then looking at your posture, as I say, you want to be sort of in a firm chair, sat upright, not really lying down at this stage. I know some people enjoy doing meditation lying down, but you'll probably find that if you're new to meditation, that you'll probably end up falling asleep, which I suppose isn't such a bad thing. You're relaxing whilst you sleep, but it tends to induce that sort of whole process. You've got it, oh, I'm lying down, I've got my eyes closed, oh, I must be going into sleep mode. So sitting in a chair, sitting away from the upright of the chair, with an upright back, place your feet on the ground, because that obviously keeps you grounded and in touch with the floor and the earth. A straight spine, as I say, hands loosely in the lap or upon thighs, or some people prefer to do a full lotus position, but I'm certainly not flexible enough to do that, that's for sure. So that's what we want to do to try and get you sort of into that mode. So all these surrounding things and where you sit and the room you're in, the temperature, the light, the noise, that sort of thing will have an effect. As you get more competent at anything, it becomes easier. So you might find, as I say, those things don't become as important to you as time goes by. But certainly when you're starting, it will give you every chance to get the most benefit from this. So think about that quite a lot before you start. So the loose clothing, ambient room temperature, not too light, not too dark, a firm chair, seating position, your back away from the back of the chair, and just saying relax with your feet on the ground. And then, as I say, go into the centering your breath, so your hand on your chest and your hand on your abdomen, and start to feel where you're breathing from. Then just breathing normally to start with, and then as you start to take control of your breath, and as I said at the start, sometimes you'll start to race, or you'll feel that your body's going get off, you can't breathe normally all of a sudden now that you're thinking about breathing, then just come out of it and then go back into it. It's going to happen. It happens to the best of us. So don't let those things put you off. It doesn't mean that you're bad at doing this. It's just your body saying, that's something I tend to do myself. So stop thinking about it. But as you become more competent at this and start to practice it more, you'll start to find that becomes a lot easier to do anyway. So center the breath, start your breathing. Once you feel that your breathing's at a nice sort of rhythmical rate, then start to breathe through your nose and exhale through your mouth. And then once you've got to that point, your body's ready at a state where you can start to do some of the things. So when I talk about visualization, I think a lot of people these days have seen athletics or sporting events, golf, athletics, all sorts of different things, where people, I think it's quite noticeable with the long jump and the triple jump, and you'll see them at the end of the runway, and they'll be going through motions and almost talking to themselves and doing different sort of movements and what have you. And what they're doing there is using a visualization technique which has been used for a long time in sport now, because it's so good to get more out of somebody. And I'll explain a bit further why that is, but they use a technique where in their mind they're going through their perfect jump. They are going through the ultimate jump that they can do. So they will visualize the run up, the feet hitting the ground, how that feels with the spring back. They visualize coming up to the point where they take off. They visualize that foot planted on the board, absolutely perfect, not wasting any of the distance. As you see with the close-up, sometimes the foot's way behind the board, and obviously they're going to do a lesser jump because of that, because it goes from the point that you take off. They measure from that board, the end of the board. So if you're behind that board, you've already lost maybe 5-6 inches. So they visualize their foot hitting that board, and then their whole body, their energy coming up through the legs, being planted as they hit and then springing off. And then even they visualize their movement through the air and how their body will be as it goes through the air. Now, the reason why visualization has benefited athletes so much, there was some research done in the States a number of years ago where they took a group of basketball players and they split them into 3 sections. and they made them take a load of free shots. So that's basically standing in the one part and trying to do hoops. So they made them do a number of these, quite a few of them, until they got a nice average for each group. And then they said to the first group, right, every day for an hour for the next 3 weeks, every single day, you will practice taking that free throw. That's a bit of an awkward one to say. The free throw from that point, and for an hour every day for the next 3 weeks, you will practice shooting hoops. So that's what the one group did. The next group, they said, you're not going to do anything at all. You're not even allowed to pick up a basketball. You can't watch basketball on telly. You can have nothing to do with basketball whatsoever for the next 3 weeks. And then the last group, the third group, they said to them, we want you to watch the world's best taking free throws, and on videos, on telly, whatever recordings you've got. We want you to watch it for an hour a day. And we want you to really study and really watch it in detail over and over again for the next 3 weeks for an hour every day. Well, at the end of it, they came together, and what they got them to do was do the free throws. And the first group, I think, had actually got worse by about 2%. The second group had actually improved by about 1%. But the third group, the group had been doing nothing but watching and visually watching the people do it, increased by around about 20 to 30%. So this really sent the whole world going like, wow, what's going on with this? How come this works? And there's all sorts of science and different parts of the brain. There's a part of the brain that actually works constantly. So every visual that you see, it sends a signal through to your body, to your muscles, but it's that weak, you never feel it. And it's mirror imaging the visual motion that it's watching. So if it was people rowing, it would be sending impulses through the brain, down the spine, into the muscles, as if you were rowing. There's all sorts of science in behind this. So they realized that using visualization and taking that step further, and people to do it in their mind's eye, can actually improve somebody's performance. So visualization within meditation, once you're in that relaxed state, can allow you to do anything, be anything, go anywhere. So for me, when I got into visualization and started to enjoy it, I found that on a rainy, dismal, cold day, I could go into a visualization technique and transport myself almost in real time to a beach in Acapulco or Mauritius or the Seychelles, or on a mountain top that you've just climbed and looking down at the views and whatever else. And when you get good at it, your whole body feels it. Your whole body is there with you. So this is a fantastic way to transport yourself to another dimension, another level of meditation, another level of consciousness where you live and breathe what you're doing. So some of the things that they've looked is creative visualization. This will help you to relax quicker and deeper, and it can also allow you to look at healing techniques. There's a lot of documentation now where people have said they've used visualization to overcome cancer. I personally haven't met anybody who's actually done that, but I've read lots of articles, I've seen lots of studies done on it, and people have used their visualization techniques to visualize the good cells attacking the cancer and actually reduced the tumours or killed off the cancers. I know that might sound a bit wacky and it's a bit out there, but the studies are there, people are there as living proof that they've done these things. But one thing I did have the chance to speak to somebody about was, I met a lady and she was trained in psychology and some other bits and pieces, but she did hypnotherapy and also meditation, and she had to have open back surgery where they're actually going to operate on her spine. It was a very, very serious operation. But because it was so delicate, they needed her to be awake to be able to say whether or not she could still move certain parts of her body or speak in a certain way or do whatever. So they had this dilemma where they couldn't afford her to move in any way, shape or form. They're using scalpels to cut down to the spinal cord. So it's not like a little cut, this is serious pain. And they couldn't afford her to move in any way, shape or form, or to, wince or move in any way, because, one slight slip and they could sever nerves to other parts of the body. And she convinced this one surgeon that she could take herself that deep into meditation, she could completely block out any pain. And she showed me the video of her having open back surgery on her spine, and the surgeon doing the procedure, and it was an absolute success, and gave her a new lease of life afterwards. So these are things that the body can do beyond the level of consciousness of most people. But the body's an amazing thing, and it can do some super amazing stuff. Think of our immune systems. And that's one of the things with people feeling anxious and depressed and stressed and up in their heads about what's happening at this point in time with the world, is that will impact negatively on your immune system, which means it may reduce your ability to fight off any infections, any diseases, and potentially the coronavirus. Because when our immune systems go down, it means it leaves us susceptible to picking up all sorts of bugs and other things that are floating around. So meditation is a way of rebooting and reboosting your whole immune system, because you're not worrying about the future, you're not in your head about the past, you are present, you are now, you are in this space in time. With your feet on the floor, you're grounded, and you're going to take yourself to a point where you can achieve anything. So what I'd like you to try and do, if you could, is once you've gone through your centering the breath and you've felt yourself get to that state where you're in this nice relaxed point, if you need to, do your progressive muscular relaxation. If you feel that you've got some tensions or some aches and pains that are going on, and to get rid of those, then go back into your breathing. And the one that I like best with visualization is what I call 2-2 breath. It's often called quietening of the mind. And there's something about counting to only 1, 2, which is very easy for the body to do, even more so than 1, 2, 3. That 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. It's very cyclical in itself, but because you're thinking 1, 2, your mind can't shove in all those millions, if not, thousands of thoughts that you may be having at the moment, especially if you're up in your head and you're worrying about things, or you're worrying about things from the past. So counting the 1, 2 as you breathe in through your nose, and that could be a 1, 2, pause. Exhale, 1, 2, pause. Inhale, 1, 2, pause. Exhale, 1, 2. And you keep that rhythm going until it just becomes as simple as breathing. Now, you will still have thoughts that come in, and as I've said before, don't allow these to take you out of that Zen moment. Don't let those take you out of that feeling of relaxation. Don't get annoyed with yourself. It takes years. I don't want to put people off, but it takes years to become really Zen-like with meditation. I mean, you've seen some of these monks that have spent their whole lives doing it, and they maybe go for things like transcendental meditation, which is way beyond anything I can actually do. And I won't go into that just now, but just allow yourself to have those hiccups. because the brain is used to just whacking thoughts in there when you least expect it. You know, we've all been there trying to get to sleep, and all of a sudden the mind's a million and one things, and someone will tell you to get up and make a list. Somebody else will say do this, do that, do the other. A 2-2 breath and quietening of the mind works in such a way that because you're only going 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, but obviously slower than that, your brain is doing something, so it's less likely to throw a thought in there. So, as I say, center your breathing, maybe do some progressive muscular relaxation, then go into the 1-2 breath or quietening the mind, and then try to visualize something that's familiar to you. So it could be visualizing, I don't know, let's say your bedroom. A lot of people meditate in the bedroom. Sorry, that door's really annoying me. I should have propped that open. I tried to get some of the outside in because it was such a lovely day, but I think the breeze, I hope the wind isn't sort of taken away from the audio on this. I hope it isn't. So yeah, think about something familiar to you, your lounge, your bedroom, your garden. But I want you to go into detail. So in your mind's eye, what I would like you to do is try to put yourself in that space, whether it's your garden, whether it's your kitchen, your lounge, your bedroom, even sitting on the loo if you want to. But put yourself there, in your mind's eye, with your eyes closed. Put yourself into that room and look around it in your mind's eye. Smell. Are there any smells? Are there any perfumes that you could smell? Is there bleach down the toilet? Is there scent from flowers in the garden? Is the window open? Is there a breeze? Can you feel that move over you? You know, is it going through your hair, or you can feel it on the hairs on your arms or on your face? Is there any movement in the room? And just absorb being in that one place. So I'd like that to be your homework for this week, if I can set homework. I feel like a teacher now. But yeah, try to practice getting into that really relaxed state, getting your breathing with the 2-2 breath, and getting yourself to a point where you're not having to think, you're just breathing in through your nose, exhaling through your mouth, and visualize being in a space that's familiar to you. That's all you have to do. And you can take as long as you like to do this. Visualize the shadows that are being cast from a window or from a light shade. If you've got carpets, visualize how it feels when you're barefooted as you tread on different flooring. You may go from a hard wooden floor through to a carpet, or from a lino, or through to a deep pile. How does that feel underneath your feet? That's all part of the visualization. What's the atmosphere in the room? You know, some people visualize being in a steam room, you know, visualizing the sweat coming down you and how it feels. So detail is the key to this. And whilst you're doing that, just remembering to breathe in through your nose and exhale through your mouth. In through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Now, don't go to the room or the place that you're thinking about to do the actual meditation, because you'll start to ask yourself, what is the colour of that? What does that actually look like? How big is that in contrast to something else in the room? Did I put the pillows on the bed with the throw? Is there a crease in it? Do I pull the sheet back or the duvet back? And you'll be tempted to open your eyes to have a look. It's all about keeping your eyes closed and using your imagination. Now, in a world that we live in, where we're bombarded by TV, videos, films, all the sorts of media, we often switch off our imaginations. Now, we're using our visualization together with our imagination in this way. So it helps to stimulate different parts of the brain as well. And just take the time to visualize being in that space. Now, if you find, and some people take this like a duck to water, other people struggle with it. Now, it's like everything. Everyone has got different levels of capability or skill sets. And it doesn't mean one's better than the other. It just means you may be more apt at doing visualization than somebody else. Now, if you're practicing with somebody else, don't start going, oh, could you do this or could you do that? Did you both visualize the same thing, or did you smell this or did you smell that? Did you hear this sound? Did you feel this? Because it's not a competition. This is about you, your mind, your meditation, your grounding, and you being present in your world. Now, if you find that that's really easy, that you can, in that mind's eye, you are in that space, then practice doing something else. Think back to a holiday that you were on, or a special moment in time for you, and relive it. It's a bit like rewinding a video and switching it back on and reliving it. And if you live it in the right way, if it's a good thing, you'll have all the goodness come to you. If it's a bad thing, you'll feel bad. So let's try and stick with the good. So, there may have been a time where you were on a beach and it was one of those days where you just felt as if all that pressure and stress of work and everyday life had left you, and you may be on the beach on your own, the sun setting, the waves just lapping up on the shore, a slight breeze, maybe a scent of blossoms, maybe a barbecue off in the distance, a faint smell just trickle in, the birds in the background, the rustling of the leaves in the trees, or the grasses, maybe some other wildlife around, the feeling of this grains of sand as you push your feet into the sand. So as I say, detail takes you there. Detail makes you feel it. Detail is what allows you to visualize and get the most out of it. So practice it with whatever you want to. Enjoy those breathing techniques. Don't get up into your heads. Don't beat yourself up. Don't get angry with yourself if it doesn't go the way that you expected it to start with. And I'm saying this and smiling because I know I did. I used to get really ratty with myself. But when I first started, it was before I'd done an anger management course, and I was feeling stressed at the time, and I was very negative about myself, and they were like, for God's sake, Neil, you can't even do a breathing technique, how useless are you? So I was having other battles going on, but I persisted, and every day, 2 or 3 times a day, and I got to the point where visualization and breathing techniques and the whole thing of meditation gave me a break. It allowed me to escape the everyday drudgery, the everyday grind, the everyday pressures and thoughts and negativity that I was doing to myself. So this was one of the things that, if I say saves my life, for those of you who don't know my background will probably go, oh yeah, that's a really hippie thing to say. But it really did. It gave me hope every day that however bad things got, I could escape anywhere I wanted to go to, from the North Pole to mountains to scuba diving, beaches, fantastic Christmases with the family. And it's almost as if you can go back in time. It's almost like looking at yourself as a third party almost. And as I say, when you get good at it, you relive every wonderful bit about what you're thinking. So it did help give me the ability and the strength to keep battling through the post-traumatic stress that I was suffering at the time. It allowed me to see hope. It allowed me to feel joy. It allowed me to remember that there were some wonderful things in life that were worth living for. So, although that might sound a bit serious, don't allow yourself to get too wound up with this. You know, if you are struggling at the moment, as I say, it's practice. It's doing it again and again and again and again, making sure that you've got your environment right, that you're in your right headspace, that you're not going, oh God, I've got to do that meditation again. Just do it when you want to, okay? Whatever you force is going to be a negative. So, although I'm saying practice, and practice, with practice you get better at it, only practice when you want to. You know, don't make it one of those things to do on your to-do list, because those are pressures. Those are things that we have to do. This should be something joyous. This should be something that you enjoy doing. This is something that gives you pleasure. So try not to put that sort of pressure on yourself, but the more you practice, the better you get at it. It's the same as anything else in life. So I hope you enjoyed that. And as I say, next week, although it's a bit weird not having anybody in front of me, I'm used to either delivering this to a group of people or one-on-one. I used to have a client who had real trouble sleeping at night, so I actually used to turn up and he was already in bed, and I would talk him through a relaxation and meditation technique. And then once he'd actually fallen asleep or got to the point where he could actually drift off, I'd let myself out, lock the door, put the alarm on, lock the door and leave. So, you know, people find lots of benefit in this and in different ways in their life. So just keep having a go at it. As I say, there's no right or wrong. If you want music on, put music on. If you want to use relaxation music, use relaxation music. Do whatever you want that suits you, that's right for you. And you'll know when it's right. And I just hope that visualization gives you as much as it gave me. And I'll speak to you in the next video. And we'll start to put some of these together. So I'll do the centering of the breath, do progressive muscular relaxation. Then we'll go into 2-2 breath. And then I'm going to lead you through a visualization. But I'm also going to do something really special for you, and that's allow you to go to a safe space. And we'll talk about more of that next time. So look after yourselves, look after your immune system. Remember I said how important it is at the moment to be doing that with all the things that are going on. It will keep you safer and allow nature to take its course and allow you to get stronger. So stay safe, stay well, keep smiling, and I hope you get something from this. Please share if you do. You know, I'm going to put it up on the different sites, so if you're following this, if you're getting something from it, please share something with the group if you want to, or just with me. But as I say, I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye now.